What's up everyone, I'm Logan with 89 AutoWorks, and today we are finally starting something I have waited so long for, and we are finally STI swapping my Bugeye. Been something that I've been planning for months and months and months and months, and been stockpiling parts and buying stuff, and finally it's all here. We have it all. Everything is finally ready to go in the car, but before we do that, there's a bunch of stuff we have to actually do to the chassis, like stripping all of the old parts off of it and getting all that stuff out the door. This is all parts off a 2006 STI. Everything here is from a 2006 STI, less the motor and the transmission, and but everything else is going to be bolting in the car is from a 2006 STI cluster, a full drivetrain, basically everything else you're seeing here. We do obviously have the full JDM STI front clip and wing and all that stuff for my car itself, and then there is an STI interior already in my car, so we will be going and doing all of that stuff. That is a 2016 6-speed out of a 2016 STI, and we are going to be using that. I bought that transmission, has super low miles, has like 54,000 miles on it or something. And then this is a version 7 EJ207 STI motor, and this is what we are going to be running in the car for the time being. I know I had big plans of running and doing the EZ30R swap in this car, but just as far as logistics go and everything, I think this is going to be a better swap for the car for the time being, more realistic, and be able to get the car on the road in a relatively quick and easy time period. So without further ado, I think we better go take a look at the car and give you guys a little reminder on what we're working on here. Here she is in all of her glory, everyone. This is what we are doing all this work on. And I know she looks rough from here, but definitely an extremely clean chassis. Does have an STI interior in it. Nice sunroof chassis. This is what our big area of work that has to be done. I have to go and basically body fill everything, and we're going to be painting the full engine bay on this car. So there is a ton of stuff to do here that is going to have to happen to be able to, you know, paint the engine bay and run that motor in here and do the full STI swap. So we got a lot of work to do here. This is super roughed in, and obviously I still have to get a core support on here and get all the measurements and everything. So basically the game plan is that I was originally going to tuck and shave this whole entire engine bay. At this point in time, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to probably be doing some shaving. I don't know about a full tuck, maybe a partial tuck. So the big one is going to be obviously getting all of this stuff smoothed out where I welded these plates on, and then work on kind of just literally getting all the welds smoothed out, getting all the seam sealer cut out and burned out, or however I'm going to get that out, and that'll all get body filled. And then I'm going to sand the whole engine bay down, and we will paint the engine bay. And I do want to do majority of this work before I swap all the STI parts on here, just for in the event if I were to get paint or something on something, it's at least on the old WRX parts and not the STI stuff. So for now, I'm going to work on sanding some of this roughed out stuff back down. Since I worked on this last, I've bought some new tools that are going to make this job really good. All right, guys, so it's day 2. I did a bunch of work yesterday. Guys probably can't see exactly what I did, but I will flip the camera down and show you guys actually what we had going on yesterday. Basically, on that side, I basically have just stopped at this point and left everything where it is. On this side, I went ahead and basically removed about, I would say, 95% of the seam sealer is gone at this point. I'm still going to have to go in and roughen it a little bit with a file or a knife and pull some more out in areas I couldn't get a grinder in. And I have cut a bunch of brackets off this side. Basically at this point I have some stuff I need to weld up over here, some holes that need to get welded up, and then before we do anything more with that, I just want to make sure that I figure out exactly what still needs to be on here and what doesn't. I want to shave this as much as possible, but I don't want to lose factory functionality. Originally with this car, I planned on doing like a full ABS delete and all of that stuff, and honestly, the direction we're going with this car again is more of a street car, I guess, where before we had big plans of this being a quote-unquote race car. Just don't think that we're going to do the race car route right now. It doesn't make a bunch of sense. I want this car to be something that I can take to shows and stuff and actually be able to drive. So we are going to be keeping ABS, keeping all the factory brake lines in the engine bay, harnesses and stuff. We will end up relocating some of the wiring. Some of it will be staying, and just kind of trying to tuck as much of the wiring and stuff as we can to get the best look, I guess, clean look in the engine bay. So basically you can see here, normally this would all be body filler. You would just take and blend this corner here with body filler. I liked the idea of having most of it be weld, so I filled most of that in, did some light grinding over here, not as much as I will do. I'll flatten this out better, and then I'll lay body fill over the top of the weld, so there will be less of a chance of actually having the body filler crack here. In my experience, anytime you have a real thick layer of body filler, it ends up just cracking and chipping due to vibrations, heat, any of those types of things. What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I hope you guys are enjoying seeing what I'm doing to my 2002 Subaru WRX Bugeye and watching the STI swap. Now would be the opportune time for me to tell you guys, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, turn notifications on. Stick around, because every week I'm going to be coming out with more content on this car until this car is done. I have so much stuff in store and planned that it's time prevailing at this point. So I will be making content on this car every week until hopefully it's done or waiting on parts. And if we aren't doing something on this car, you'll be seeing another one of my shop builds. It's extremely important that I note that it is very, very appreciated when you guys comment and like and subscribe and all of those things and give interactions with the channel, so I know that I have real subscribers and people that are actually enjoying the content that I'm putting out. So once again, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, please subscribe. Alright guys, back to the video. So here's a little update. Did some sanding, did some stripping of some seam sealer. Basically over here I have everything I guess sanded down where I need to weld these holes shut. As you can see, I welded this one shut, but I actually did put a piece of plate in there. On these smaller ones, it's pretty easy to just do a little circle with the MIG welder and fill it up and then grind it flat. So over here, you guys can see I have done all of the plug filling and everything roughed in over here. You can definitely tell I was doing a lot of tack welding today with no hood on my face. Totally roached. So, that's not that cool. But, what also is not that cool, this aircraft stripper. I have tried a brand new can. I've tried my 5-year-old can. None of it freaking works in 45 minutes like it says it does at all. So we're going to leave it overnight, see what it does. I guess that's probably going to wrap her up for today. Another long freaking day at the shop trying to get stuff done, and I'll tell you, starting to get a little tiring, but we'll say at least I'm working on my own car at this point. So I guess that's what it is. I will see you guys in the morning. It's the next morning. I screwed up. So, note to self, do not put chemical stripper on your paint, on your engine bay, and leave it overnight. I don't know how bad of a cleanup this will actually be, but it's not looking that fun right now. So, moral of the story, follow directions on the can. Alright guys, so here's the skinny. This is ugly. It's not working out the way I want to, so we're going to have to just work on getting this off of here for now, I guess. That's going to be the starting point here. We're going to have to get this off here. My big plans for today is to get some Bondo in some places. start working on smoothing some of that stuff out, and then the big one's going to be, I want to get the core support mounted on this thing today. Measured out, perfectly lined up, perfectly mounted, perfectly in its home, perfect. I've done this one other time. I was off by like an eighth of an inch. Not that much. You could never see it on the car itself when you put everything on, but every bolt hole was just a little bit off, and it was freaking annoying. So I've got a couple GD chassis laying around here, a couple different people. We are going to measure this stuff out perfectly, get it exactly where it needs to be, weld it all out, body fill it, happy. Everything's going to be mint. Now let me, here's the move. So we are going to go through this thing, and I have green Scotch-Brite, and we are going to just scuff everything. Everything on this whole, everything here is going to get scuffed to make sure that none of this stuff is loose. And then we're going to go through here with the heat gun, make sure all of the water everywhere is evaporated and dried out and blah, 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 blah. And then we are going to go and start working on laying down some body filler and getting some of this stuff filled in. I'm going to let the camera roll. This is going to take probably a really long freaking time, and we're just going to do it. Alright guys, so we got this thing all scuffed down with some 80 grit sandpaper for best adhesion. And then we are going to take some acetone and just wipe everything down one more time to make sure that, for one, there's no moisture or anything anywhere. And then the other big one is just making sure that there's nothing that's going to stop this body filler from properly adhering to this metal. It's all sanded and prepped. I don't know how much we're actually going to be doing right now. I don't think we're going to be doing anything really except for the big bulk areas that we're just going to glob some body filler in there so it can fully cure and kind of do its thing and start working it into the areas. All right, so here's where we're at. I got some Bondo roughed in there. And it's extremely important that I tell you guys want to lay it in thick for sure on this first coat, but the big thing is not laying it in too thick and not having it cure, which will cause cracking and shrinking and blah, 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 blah. So, lay it in thick, expect it to crack, expect it to shrink, expect all that. Let it dry 3/4 or a little bit better of the way and start shaving her down. And basically once you get to the point of having it roughed in again and somewhere that you like, and I would say that slightly in concaved versus convexed, I guess, you're going to want to then go back through and lay more coats over the top of that. But big thing is just letting it dry all the way, because if you just keep layering it up on there, it won't dry for a long time, and then when it does, it'll crack and shrink and look really bad, and it'll look like you suck at your life. And that's okay, because you might. Who knows? I know I probably suck at my life because I've never done this before. So I have about as much body experience as somebody that doesn't do body work would have. So that's a grand total of like none. So experimental stuff, I always wanted to be a body man. I mean, we started like that. We are making some progress. All this stuff here, you want to make sure that it's not 1 inch thick. That doesn't work. So several layers, thin layers, and poking through to get to the metal. That's good. That's meaning that you don't have a ton of stuff. So all these spots in here that you can see, big chunks of shit, I still need to get in here with my piece of sandpaper and just my hand and flatten all that stuff out, because that does not cause good adhesion. I remember one time on Monday when I was like, yeah, no problem, I'll have this done in like 2 days. Well, here we are, it's Friday, and I haven't really got to do shit else other than this car this week. So yeah, there's that. Things are looking interesting. I've gone through now at this point 1 gallon of Bondo and probably shaved off 1 gallon of Bondo. Starting to look pretty good. So you can see I still got obviously tons of sanding to do on everything, but it's starting to look pretty good. Just trying to get this to a point where it's nice and clean lines, but not with 1 inch of Bondo or a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. I think the thickest it is anywhere in here is probably around 1/8 inch or so in some of these corners where it's built up to flow smoothly. So anyways, over here I'm making myself a little block to be able to sand in here better, because I want to flatten all this stuff out and then get some more coats in there, and just get the stuff looking nice and I guess flat. And voila, little sanding block just made out of a little scrap piece of 2x4 that I use for my lift arms sometimes. Just literally took some spray adhesive and just sprayed a piece of sandpaper to it so I can get in some of those tighter spots.